Gentlemen, to honor the life of WWE Hall of Famer Rowdy Roddy Piper, would you please rise as we toll the bell 10 times?
Okay, Rowdy Roddy Piper passed away, only 61. And Monika, when Mondo told me that you used to work for Roddy Piper as a personal assistant, it's Monika from KISSFM. I remember, I think maybe you told me that, or somebody else told me that about you. Yeah. You were his personal assistant.
I was.
And where was this?
This was in Portland when I was living up in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And
is he from that area?
Yeah, he lives out in Hillsboro, which is about 15, 20 minutes commute from downtown Portland.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you were in Portland. Yeah. How long were you his personal assistant?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years.
It was,
wow.
And what kind of stuff? Running errands? Picking up dry cleaning?
Coffee? No.
Picking up his kilt?
I don't think I ever fetched coffee for him. It was just your basic scheduling, interviews, travel, merchandise. You know, he was starting his website at the time. He was also writing his book In the Pit, and I used to transcribe a lot of that for him. And he was just a very nice man. I haven't seen the tribute that they did that you just played right now, because I almost teared up right now.
Freddie asked me, do you think Monika will cry? And I said, no, we talked about it at the office, and she seemed, she seemed to be taking it in stride.
Yeah,
but you were close. You got close to him.
Oh yeah,
right?
You know, I knew his family, very sweet. His wife, Kitty, just salt of the earth. That woman, so patient, so very kind. Roddy, go ahead.
When you would go to work,
yes,
would you go to his house, or was there an office that you would work for?
I would work. Well, see, it all started. I was working at a radio station up in Portland. It was a sports station, and in the building across the hall were his offices. And one of the gentlemen that worked there, they were looking for somebody, and I was looking for part-time work, and it just kind of worked out. So they knew me from the building, blah, blah, blah. And that's how I ended up getting the job. But it started as part-time, and then it went into a full-time gig when he started touring the Northwest for appearances and such.
Would you tour with him, or
yes,
you'd
go on the road with him, and I would take pictures for the website and handle the merchandise. And he was just this incredible man. When he'd walk into a room, he would just captivate everybody, and he was a storyteller. So if you engaged him in a conversation, you were locked in for at least a half hour. You were in.
So when fans would come up and recognize him, he would
take the time to talk to them and listen to them. And the running joke the whole time would be, hey, make sure that nobody gets his attention, and just you get him where he needs to be, because he would always delay talking to everybody. But that's just who he was.
Yeah.
And he was a great tipper. He would tip everybody. Here you go.
Good tipper.
Here you go. Oh yeah, all the time.
In restaurants and valets,
cars, valets.
Like, what's a good tip? 50%?
He'd tip like $100 minimum.
Wow.
All the time. All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of events would he do? People wanting to interview
appearances. They had, their local wrestling matches and stuff, and he would go out there, and once he would step onto the platform, he was the star. He was a completely different man.
Yeah.
That's who you
His
saw.
persona.
Totally. 100%. But just a very kind man.
Now, you worked for him before he was diagnosed with the Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yes.
But as we were talking the other day, you said every day was a painful struggle for Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Chronic back pain. And I remember when we used to have the service come over and drive us wherever we needed to go, we'd actually get two cars, because he'd need to lay down in the back. He couldn't sit for too long because of his back.
Oh, wow.
Now this was going to just be before the lymphoma, which eventually I think that's what took his life. That was just his condition. I mean, did he see doctors? Was there?
Yes.
They just said, look, you've done this to your body. This is the way it's going to be.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he knew that. He knew that very well, but that was his life.
He didn't seem bitter at all about that.
No.
He still loved the wrestling fans and going out and doing that. Now, when he would go out to these wrestling events, would he wrestle or do anything physical, or is more just he was going to be there?
It was just the appearance and, rallying up the crowd and stuff and talking smack.
What would he do to handle all that pain? When he was in such intense, everyday, daily pain.
He was medical. It was medical marijuana.
Uh-huh.
It was medical marijuana before, I guess it became popular or whatever. But
or legal
for that matter. But he had to manage. But it wasn't an out of control.
Was that one of your duties, getting weed for him?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
That wasn't in the job description.
No. But, I do remember some great times and some great parties that we had. I met some of the best wrestlers too, because we grew up with that. It was the 80s. But
when you already knew who he was, you were a wrestling fan.
Oh, yes.
Right.
100%.
So going into it.
That must have been cool to work for somebody that you grew up watching.
It was I remember I called my brother and I called my family and they're like, "You're kidding. Why? You're kidding." And at that moment, I think I was starstruck for just a half second because I couldn't afford to be that person. I wanted to do a great job and focus and all that. But it all kind of went away because he became such a real person when you were around him that you quickly forgot he was a star. But when we had this one huge party, it was kind of like the closing of the year and we had done a great job. And Mr. Perfect shows up, Randy Savage Jimmy Hart shows up. And I was just like, what is happening?
Is Mr. Perfect Paul Orndorff?
Yes.
No, that was Kurt Hennig.
The blonde guy?
Yeah. He's already passed away.
What was Paul Orndorff?
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful.
There you go.
There
Mr. Perfect and Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, it was
Did you ever meet the Iron Sheik?
No, I did not meet the Iron Sheik. I did not meet Hogan. No.
Well, that was. Had you ever seen They Live, the movie They Live that he started?
Yes, of course.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that today for Monica's mystery movie.
Okay. So almost 3 years. Yeah. You really got to know the family.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big loss for the wrestling world.
Did you ever keep in touch?
We did a couple of years after, especially when he got diagnosed back in 2006. And a couple of years after that, we kind of just lost touch. Life goes on. And I recently just called. I called up there for, the service is coming up Wednesday, the 12th. Mm-hmm. And would love to go up there. But it's going to be like this. It's so packed. And they've got other things going on. I'm just like,
I'm sure they'd be happy to see you. You got pretty close to Kitty and the kids.
We'll see.
You should go up.
I should go.
Do you want me to get you some time off?
I don't know. Well,
I can use some of Mondo's extra PTO. All right. Thank you, Monica. They're very nice talking to you.